Blood Time, the podcast that speaks to the bond, the emotion between coach and athlete at the interscholastic and intercollegiate level. Each interview, each segment will reveal that bond and what was learned, how they were transformed, and what each athlete took to the world at large from that transformation. These stories will warm your heart and astound you altogether. Submitted for your approval. Now it is blood time. Hey guys, I want to thank our newest sponsor, Affinity Whole Health, and the owner, Brian Zide. He started this company to get you feeling like you were in your prime. You can reach this company at feelgreatcleveland.com. Founded obviously by a former wrestler-athlete and his partner, who's also a former wrestler and athlete. The whole goal for this is to get you feeling like you're in your prime, but also helps you with muscle definition and strength, increased libido, increased energy and drive, increased mental acuity, obviously increases your confidence if you get all those, and increases recovery time from workouts. If you like all those things and you want all those things, check them out at feelgreatcleveland.com. Thank you again, Brian Zide and Affinity Whole Health. Hey guys, it's blood time. I want to thank my guest from last show, Josh Moore. What just an authentic and genuine leader in the sport of wrestling at the Division I level. Cleveland State University has a gem in Joshua Moore, and we wish him and the Vikings well. My next guest comes from a storied Division II program, also too from the great and large state of Texas, and I'm very fortunate to have him. He is my assistant coach at Chagrin Falls High School. Welcome to Jake Goodwin. How you doing, Jake?
Doing good. How are you?
Great, man. Thanks for coming, and thanks for being on the show. I want to start off and talk to you a little bit about your wrestling career. You've had an incredible coaching legacy from the guys who helped you get into this sport and help you become the coach that you are now as a young man. And I'm so incredibly fortunate to have you on my staff. And it was like a confluence of events. Larry Vance, I meet Larry Vance because of my dad. My dad's working at... oh my gosh, he's been retired for 10 years and 3 days a week he works at Home Depot and Larry Vance is checking out and he goes, hey, Cimoroni, hey, blah, 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 and all of a sudden I meet you. Thank you, Larry Vance.
Right,
so
Larry.
Tell me a little bit how you started in the sport and tell me how you got to Chagrin.
Well, yeah, definitely. I started just always in sports.
Okay.
Baseball, football, all the good stuff growing up. But
I love to hear that because I was listening. We were talking about this in the last podcast about Wayne Gretzky, and he says I love to play other sports because those other sports brought stuff to my sport, my hockey. But
it's a different competitive edge from different sports as well. It's a different mindset you have to approach each sport with, and you can take that all into one, like wrestling. Right. That is very mental. I think that was a big influence and big help too. But gymnastics was the one I really clinged to. And, it kind of made me like a freak of nature out of nowhere. Gymnasts are just strong. It's
great. We talked about those pull-ups that these guys are doing. It's nuts, right?
Incredible.
And you bring that to the wrestling room and into our room, which I love because these kids get athletic really quick from some of the drills that you do. But I don't want to get to that point. I want to talk a little bit more about your gymnastics and your other sport career, but go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I did that for a while, real competitively, competing at national tournaments, holding my own. And they decided, Jake, you're doing really well, so why don't you come in for about 80 hours a week, something like that, something crazy, and get homeschooled. I looked at my mom and I was like, there's no chance. No. So I stopped doing that. I kept playing hockey a little bit, loved hockey. Sure. Just loved the toughness of it, Yep. And then my dad suggested that I wrestle. Okay. My brother wrestled. Yeah. And
didn't your dad wrestle?
My dad was a wrestler.
No, he's a Jersey kid, right?
In Long Island.
Oh, Long Island. Okay, yeah. my bad. Oh, my God.
No, he would be insulted.
Them fighting's words, man.
He would be insulted.
Exactly.
My mom's from Jersey, though.
Okay,
my mom's from Jersey.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he wrestled at SUNY Buffalo.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They were national champions one of the years.
Wow.
And this was back when they were D3, though.
Yes, I remember that.
70-something.
Yeah, he's my contemporary. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. They were tough. Very tough.
Very tough.
I think Binghamton was tough.
Oh,
they
yeah.
were D3 at the time. So, yeah, that New York swath of guys were great.
Yeah, a lot of tough guys coming out there for sure.
Absolutely.
And then just picked it up, and I walked in my first wrestling practice at a place called Dallas Dynamite, and then there was also like the Scots Wrestling Club.
So how old were you
about? 14 when I started, I believe.
So you were
just turning 14 when I started.
Yeah, so you were pretty late to the game.
Very late. Yeah. As far as getting to where I got as quickly as I did.
Yes.
Very late to the game.
Yeah.
But as you said earlier, my first practice, I walk in and Brandon Slay is standing there as my head coach.
Olympic champion.
Olympic gold medalist, right there.
Unbelievable.
Unbeknownst to me, though, I just walk in like,
he's just Brandon.
Look at all these gorillas in here just throwing each other around. I'm looking at my dad like, I've been in hockey fights, I've been in street fights. Like, what the hell is going on?
What's going on? Yeah, that's right.
Moving all crazy. So
yeah.
I walked in and loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, just loved it. And one of the biggest things for me was like, kind of like the crap talk that was going on and like the edge, but right after everyone was like best friends.
Love that.
Just competed in like a combat sport, and then right after like best friends, and it was enlightening.
We are blood, right?
Least. Yeah,
we
seriously.
are blood. You know, and I talk about that, and I know you echo this. Is that you could talk crap to each other, but you got to have each other's back.
100%.
You know, and that's
100%.
what blood. That's what blood's all about, right? I mean, you could knock the heck out of your brother.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, you hug and you say, okay. We're good, you know. What I mean?
Yeah,
that's cool. That's
every
cool.
single time.
Yeah. So so Brandon's in there. There's a few other guys too.
Brandon Slay's in there, and then another coach for Dallas Dynamite is Jamil Kelly, Olympic silver medalist.
Yeah. Wow.
Another guy hanging around there is Kendall Cross, 1996, gold medalist.
Not so bad there.
Yeah.
Okie State, right?
Okie State.
Yeah.
That's right. Crazy. And then down the way about 45 minutes on the other side of Dallas is Team Monday, Kenny Monday.
Kenny Monday. Wow.
And
one of the greatest of all time.
In my opinion.
Yeah, one of the greatest of all time.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, we had Lee Kemp on the other way, and I think he was the next generation Lee Kemp, wasn't he? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or a little bit, maybe even, if possible, a little bit more explosive. You know, it's crazy.
If possible, but yeah.
Yeah, but definitely in the lineage of the Lee Kemp, Kenny Monday, Jordan Burroughs type of a mentality. Absolutely. It's pretty
Definitely.
Cool. Yeah, so you had that touch you. That's pretty cool.
All of those guys, yeah.
Yeah. So what did that do to you? What did that do to you?
Honestly, it made me feel blessed. It made me feel like special in a way. It made me feel like if I'm going to get this kind of talent coaching me,
right,
I better produce a talent back for them. Or else it's almost not a failure, but it's a waste of time.
Right.
You know, if I'm going to get this kind of quality of coaching,
sure,
I know I'm going to get something out of it. All it takes is a little bit of work. You know, it's something my dad always instilled into me and my brother both, and helped having a brother that wrestled as well. He pushed me to my absolute limits. You know, shout out to my brother.
Yep. How much older is he?
He's about a year and a half older than me. 2 grades, a year and a half.
Yeah, that definitely is a absolute recipe for success or insanity. Or both.
We had a little 10x10 in our wrestling room, in our lifting room, and
oh my god, yeah, you went at it.
Oh, there were some crazy ones in there for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But picked it up. You know, I was at a tournament, and a kid approached me and said, you know, we'd love to have you come out to Bishop Lynch High School and give it a try.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, you know, Team Monday was kind of a feeder program into Bishop Lynch and just producing all these savages and
Texas too. You wouldn't think. You know what I mean? It's crazy, but
that was the weirdest thing to me. You know, I played hockey in Texas too, so at the same time I was doing something completely out of the norm.
Like it's like hockey in Vegas.
Right.
It's weird.
Like, what are you doing?
Right.
So I was kind of used to that, but I didn't realize that, you know, who these guys were until maybe 2 years in. Even then, I started really studying the sport, becoming a student of the sport.
Love that.
And I'm like, these dudes are gods.
They are
in our sport. They are as good as it will ever get.
Ever get. That's fantastic. And so, tell me, you had a phenomenal high school career. Yeah. I mean, you 4-time state champ.
4-time state champion down in Texas.
That's fantastic.
3-time All-American at Prep Nationals.
Right.
Only because one year they implemented a weird rule where if you weren't a senior, you couldn't compete.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it was something.
Weird.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's weird.
But did all that noise.
So who was your head coach? Who was your high school head coach?
So his name is Tim Matthews, actually. Okay. And Tim was just an incredible human being. Army Reserve, fireman, all the good stuff that you want in a human being.
Right.
And
just literally living his life for service.
Yeah. And a lot of love. I mean, this guy showed a lot of love, and he cares about us. And still to this day, he's always posting stuff about us on Facebook and, you know, remembering stuff and congratulatory things, even people getting married or stuff like that. He's always there. And, Tim Matthews is a very important figure in our lives for sure.
I love that. I love that.
But Kenny Monday was the technician.
Wow.
So
you couldn't get a better technician.
Yeah. So he was the facilitator, Coach Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was a great fatherly figure almost.
Okay.
But Coach Monday was really that guy in there showing some incredible technique.
So you had this confluence of a combination of great love and great technique, which is it isn't rare, but it's
yeah.
You should be fortunate.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a fortunate combination that
Definitely.
most people don't get.
Oh yeah.
Particularly at that level.
Yeah.
So, you're coaching now, and you are. I mean, I've been blessed to have phenomenal assistant coaches. Scott Peters, Maverick Peters, my beautiful producer over there. His dad is just one of the greatest, assistant coaches I ever had, and then became a phenomenal head coach. Yeah. But I've had great assistant coaches, and you are and you're what, 25, 26 years
26,
old?
Yeah,
26 years old. I'm telling you, guys out there, you got to understand how fortunate Chagrin Falls High School is to have Jay Goodwin in the room. Who did you use as a mentor or as a platform or as a foundation to become the coach that you are now becoming? Is there one coach or is there a combination of?
I'd say it's a combination, realistically. Okay. The guy that I really grasped to, though, in high school more than anybody was Jamil. So Jamil was my private coach.
Gotcha.
We coached together for the youth teams of Dallas Dynamite, and his technique and his story is actually kind of what pushed me to be how good I was, and what pushed me to be as successful as I was. He was not a state champion in high school, was not an All-American at Oklahoma State.
Wow.
Was a great wrestler. Anybody will tell you, he'll give you a match,
Mm-hmm.
He did all that good stuff. Never a national champion.
Wow.
Goes on to the trials.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he beats Bono there. I'm pretty sure if I can remember correctly. Beats Bono.
Wow.
Goes wins the silver medal.
Holy cow.
Purely from hard work alone.
That's fantastic.
And he instilled that into his coaching, into his teaching, and everything. And he was hard on me. I mean, he was very hard on me. But it was inspiring.
That is incredibly heartwarming to me.
Yeah.
Because that is really what sport, and our sport, our honest sport, like you like to say, our honest sport, all about. That type of dedication and belief in himself, you know what I mean, is just, it's rare. And I love to hear that that's your DNA.
Yeah.
So when you go out into, whether it's the real world or onto the wrestling mat or into the wrestling room to coach, that's part of your DNA.
Yeah, it is.
And it comes through without even saying it. And this is what I'm hearing from all the coaches that I've interviewed and all the people that are out there doing in the real world. It's just becomes who you are.
It is who you are.
So you took that wonderful foundation, and then you went into college. Now you must have been heavily recruited. So tell me a little bit about that college, how you matriculated through college, and how you ended up at the fantastic opportunity to wrestle for Frank Romano and Anthony Ralph and Sonny Marchetti and all those cats, over at Notre Dame College.
So I was definitely recruited by a couple schools out here and there. Started at Drexel, actually in Philadelphia.
Oh, sure, Philly, yeah.
Wrestled there for a year.
Mm-hmm.
I was ranked in the conference for a little bit, doing well. Everything was going well, and then it just wasn't a good mesh for me.
Gotcha.
Just problems with the team, and ended up not even wanting to wrestle at all.
Wow.
I was like, I've done this.
I've heard
for a good amount of time. It's taken so much from me, my body, everything.
Sure.
Anybody that's wrestled knows exactly what I'm talking about. Everyone's had that moment where you're looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, "Is this worth it?
Yeah.
Is this black
at
eye?"
D1 too. At D1, you got it. Sometimes you can't even take a breath.
There was no breaths.
Right.
There was. I mean, it was my schedule was 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And it was preset, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right.
Like, it had to happen if I wanted to be successful at the highest levels. It's what it was.
Right.
And I got a call from Anthony Ralph. He said, "Come check out South Euclid, Ohio." I was like, what are you talking about?
I didn't even know there was a Euclid, Ohio, let alone a South Euclid, Ohio. Is there a West Euclid, Ohio?
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, what does this guy want?
Yeah.
So I went with my buddy Gage, who was at Drexel. We both left Drexel, come to Notre Dame.
Nice.
I was like, not bad. Great wrestling here. I like wrestling.
Sure.
Seems like a more laid back, kind of wrestling style here. So.
Yeah. D2.
Yeah.
D2, so it's not as monstrously intense, but it is intense.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, there's some amazing talent there, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there was some amazing talent in the room that pushed you.
Unbelievable.
Sure.
That room is pretty much D1 talent.
That's what I heard, yeah.
It's just a family environment here that people just seem to cling to.
I like that.
So when I arrived, there was nothing about the school that attracted me to it.
Okay.
It was a small campus, nothing beautiful or pretty about it.
Right.
The people were nice, everything was great, but it was the coaching staff and the environment, and just you can tell there was blood, sweat, and tears ingrained into that wall.
Yeah.
And everybody loved being a part of it. People wear their gear, as you can see, like I'm wearing some
You're
of
wearing
it.
it, yeah. You
you'll see it all around.
Yeah, the Falcons.
People are proud of that. So
absolutely.
I bought in.
So you got there what year?
I got there in 2014.
14. So they had already had a lot of success.
They've had, I think, 2 or 3 national championships at that point, if not like 4.
That's pretty prideful then.
Yeah. So they took. So the year before was their first year in Division II. That was Joey's freshman year.
Joey Davis.
Yep.
4-time NCAA champion.
4-time undefeated NCAA
only in
champion.
D2. The only one in D2. Correct. Yeah. That's unbelievable.
So yeah, he was my teammate, one of my best buddies on the team.
Right. And he was perfect, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he never lost a match.
Never.
Correct?
Never.
That's just crazy.
Never felt like he was going to either.
Yeah.
Even if he was down, you were like, oh, he'll be all right.
He'll be fine.
It was a crazy feeling.
And you wrestle with him.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable.
All the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He'll lie to you, but I got a takedown on him. He'll lie to you. He faked a knee injury.
I love it.
He did. He faked a knee injury. He'll tell you.
Hey man, I love your low center of gravity.
Yeah.
And you got some explosive legs, man.
Oh
you
yeah.
Can get it.
Exactly.
You can get after it. So at that wonderful room of family, hard work, a lot of cat fights, right? A lot of fur flying. So you ended up becoming an All-American.
Yep.
Okay. And you took third at D2. 125 was the weight. Congratulations, that's fantastic.
Yep.
Not many people get to AAE, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Who was the coach there that you bonded with?
Oh, Sonny.
It
was not even
close.
Me and Ralph were close, very
sure,
close. Even to this day, me and Ralph were close.
Sure.
But it was Sonny right away. It's just we saw everything the same. We felt the same about everything. Actually, I credit Sonny and his wife for me and my girlfriend still kind of being together.
Nice.
They were there. I was there on our first date. Because after college was over, once I was done wrestling, me and Sonny actually continued a great, brotherly friendship pretty much.
Nice.
And to this day, we still hang out. We still talk all the time. And
yeah, he's a terrific guy.
He, another thing happened in college too where, things weren't going so well my first year or two. And I didn't even want to wrestle again.
Okay.
Sonny's like, take the summer off.
Right.
Reset, come back, we'll revisit.
Right.
He convinced me to do it. And that senior year, me and him worked. I mean, it was so much work. It was so much.
I love it.
All-American.
That's and that's interesting too because, that's part of being a great coach is understanding the empathy.
Yeah.
Understanding, feeling what your guy is feeling.
Yeah.
Been there, done that, but also put that in your brain, put that in your heart, and say, look, I get it. Take that time.
Just relax.
Just reset, man. Zen out, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, whatever you got to do. Go to Cedar Point.
Whatever.
Chill. Whatever it is. And I know that you're close with your family.
Yeah, very close.
And I know that you reset with them, too. Yeah. And you bring that into the room. So what we're trying to establish at Chagrin Falls is that family atmosphere.
Right.
And I think we're building that. So tell me a little bit. Empathy, love, hard work, holding them accountable. Tell me a little bit about what makes you a coach. What makes you what do you bring into the room for the Chagrin Falls Tigers on a daily basis?
A very, very deep love of the sport and what it will do for you.
Gotcha.
What it can do, it's, I was in a troubled past.
Okay.
I was getting a lot of trouble and all that good stuff. And
well, you're rambunctious.
Rambunctious, right? I'm out there.
You're a rascal.
That's it. Rapscallion, pretty much.
Rapscallion,
That's it.
exactly.
And, with wrestling, there was no messing around. It was a full-time gig, and, you either wanted or you didn't. And it taught me a lot about respect, love. It taught me a lot about dignity, all that good stuff. And it got me out of my bad ways. And realistically, maybe even saved my life, one could say. Definitely saved my brother's life. I can 100%, attest to that.
Wow.
And that whole background really makes me want to give back. And I want everybody to have that opportunity to either better their life, fix whatever's going on, or just understand, what it can do for you, what it can teach you in this world.
Right.
So that's kind of what I would like to bring. That I want to show them that this sport will affect you in ways you never thought imaginable.
That's really strong. Would you like to share how that sport saved maybe your brother's life? Would you?
Yeah, it's not a real big secret to anybody. We all had a troubled past. I was getting a lot of trouble.
Okay.
Not deeply in trouble, getting arrested and everything. But in school, I was in,
Yeah,
suspended, all that stuff, getting in
Sure.
fights and just messing around.
Right.
My brother ended up hanging out with the wrong crowd, and addiction hits.
Gotcha.
And he had his battle with addictions here and there.
Okay.
And I think wrestling,
so many kids go through that.
A lot.
Yeah, so many.
A
They
lot.
don't have a sport or a loving, community like our sport or any other sport. Maybe volleyball could be that, or lacrosse, or heck, you see that all the time, right?
All the
These
time.
families that are. I mean, I remember the 1979 Pittsburgh Pirates when they won the World Series. We are family. I mean,
Yeah.
and the whole community, would sing that during the World Series. It was. I got chills thinking about it right now, and that's cool. So that helped your brother.
Yeah, I definitely think so. He battled within,
Okay.
and it's always going to be with,
Yeah.
your own self that's going to get you out of that hole.
Right.
And I think wrestling brought him that mentality and that toughness to be able to do it.
Gotcha.
And I don't love it, but one of the big things was cutting weight.
Sure.
Me and my
Sure.
brother were
Yeah.
absolutely insane about it. I don't
Okay.
really support it that much anymore. After
Well,
what
we
I've
don't
been
really
through.
do it. We don't really do it at Chagrin Falls.
2 or 3 pounds maybe
Yeah.
we're okay with if the kid approaches us, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Just a
Especially-
little hard work, a little
That's
bit
it.
more hard work, and you're fine. Not starving or not drinking.
Yeah.
I don't go for any of
I
that.
don't wish that upon anybody what I
No,
did.
No,
And-
and I did that too in college.
Yeah.
And that was disgusting. They used to call me Casper
Yeah.
because I 2 days before, a day before, I looked like oh my god, it was terrible. But go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
you and my brother both.
Oh,
He
it was
was
terrible.
like skeletal.
Because I wrestled 26 in college. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
just but that was the Stone Age.
But yeah, my dad told me though this is how you do it. He
Yeah.
said you put on trash bags, you run around 2 trash cans, and you
Yeah.
spit in them, and
Yeah, and you chew,
Excuse me, yeah.
chew in 3 packs of juicy fruit over
Yeah,
2 days
exactly.
just to keep yourself sane.
you feel like your mouth's gonna fall out of your face.
Ridiculous, ridiculous. Your breath smells like ketosis
Yeah.
for 6 months. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and that's why that's another thing too.
Funny.
The empathy, right?
Yeah.
What I see you bringing, and I have this thing too, is that we don't want to. We want these kids. That's why I don't like to lose weight while we're wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't think that wrestling practice should be to lose weight. It should be
I
to
agree.
wrestle.
I agree.
It should be for technique. And so I know that we're doing that at Chagrin Falls. And I know that I did that for sure the 3 years I was at Beechwood. And to some degree, at the end of my tenure, the first time at Beechwood, and Ryan Peters actually, Mav, your uncle showed us that you could go up a weight. I mean, I remember we'd have him go up to 152 pounds. He's wrestled 140, and he's coming from 150, so he was right there. But 152, and he wrestled 152 pounds second in the state and tied him 14-14. So you can do that, right? You can. And by the way, I want to thank a phenomenal videographer, the man Kevin Conwell, that's sitting in studio today. Thanks, Kevin. Wake, hustle, and grind, brother. Good to see you, man. So anyhow, getting back to cutting that weight and getting back to your brother, it really is the coach. Really is the rudder.
Yeah.
Pointing us to the light.
Yeah.
And what I see with you guys, with you doing with our guys, is that bond. Is that blood tie? Is that they think of you as, as an older brother?
I think so.
And I really love that. I was that guy back in the day.
Yeah.
And I had a guy in here 2 episodes ago, Michael Goldberg, who was the first guy that made me realize that I could become a coach.
Yeah.
And saw the transformation. So we got a couple guys right now that we're trying to do that with, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that process that you're going through, because you're really the front line of this. So.
Of what, the kids?
Yeah, with the Sam Partains and the Owen McClintocks and the Ronan Fritzes and the whole team. But those guys are the guys that are starting to put the work in.
Yeah, I mean, I opened the door to anybody that wanted to take the opportunity to put in some extra work maybe, and we don't force that on anybody.
No.
And if they want to stay after practice, or if they want to call me and say, hey, let's get a wrestle practice in,
sure,
I'll do it. And I want to show them, like I said earlier, what this sport will do, and I think it's incredible how quickly they've learned, and their mentalities and everything. Even the kids that aren't taking that extra leap with the extra practices, you can see their mentalities changing.
Yes.
The confidence growing.
Right.
You
Just
can
the way they walk.
The way they walk.
Yep. Yep.
They're not bent over. They're upright.
Right.
They're looking around. Their chin's out. Chests are puffed up. Their little bird chests are puffed out. You know, they might not even be muscular or anything, but it's confidence that we're instilling in them. But they're learning on their own. You know, we're showing them the way.
Right.
We're showing them to the door. They're going through it.
Yep.
And I really like that. And I like the idea of being able to almost be a, you know, like the fatherly figure like you always talk about.
Yes.
Without actually having all the other parental responsibilities.
Well, that's the good thing about, like, I see my being a grandparent, you can cuddle and love and everything, and then leave them alone.
Yeah.
Here, parents, parent them. You know.
Thank you so much.
Well, we definitely aren't their parent.
No.
Okay?
Yeah.
But we are.
I do feel an obligation, though, to an extent that, you know, their parents have trusted us to show them the way in a specific light.
I agree. Without question, and I know that the parents have said that they bought into what we're doing. But I think really what we are the best at as coaches is validating all of those wonderful foundational pieces, that platform that they've given their kids to be good people.
Yeah.
Okay. And my goal is to graduate great human beings.
Right.
With you there, I know that I'm going to have great wrestlers.
Yeah.
Because I'm trusting you. And I've seen the marvelous technique. Your technical expertise is second to none. Tell me a little bit about why you have such great technical expertise. And I know that I may answer this question for you, that it's the deep love of the sport, but there's got to be more to that. Why do you have such great technical expertise?
Just obsessing over something.
Gotcha.
One of the things that I learned from a lot of like the wrestlers once I started studying the sport, you know, there's something that I like. I'm going to obsess over it until I know everything about it.
Gotcha.
And once I realized how much I love the sport, I obsessed over it. I started watching all the old matches of people. I mean, all the coaches that I was learning from.
Yeah.
I was watching all their matches, all the Russians that they were wrestling against.
Sure.
You know, all the Germans, the Bulgarians, the Iranians, the Cubans. I started watching all these different techniques, all these different formats. I just went deep into the technique. And I think it's really important to become not just, you know, a great wrestler, hard work, but mentally, you know, a student of the game, sitting at that computer, watching film over and over again, YouTube videos.
Yes.
The amount of film that the kids have nowadays.
Ridiculous.
There's no I mean, you can, you know,
there's no reason, right?
You can watch matches you can watch old Gable matches still.
Sure. Yeah.
Kemp matches.
Yeah, Kemp versus
I was watching
Gable.
these in high school. I was watching the Kemp versus Gable match, you know.
Yeah.
I was watching all this stuff.
Sure.
And I think that helped really, you know, deeply ingrain this technique. I would sit in front of the computer, in front of the TV, and perform the technique over and over and over again. I became obsessed. Yeah. It was hours and hours and hours of work, not even on the mat, just outside watching film. And, you know, also taking advantage of the coaches that I had.
Yes.
You know, like I said, when I did private lessons with Jamil, I mean, I learned so much. Same thing with Coach Monday. When he was showing technique, knowing his pedigree, I was...
Laser beam focused. Yes, exactly. I could see that too. Like when some guys come into the room and show a thing or two, you may not pick it up like immediately, but you focus in. It's almost like you're putting it in your brain.
Yeah.
Like you click,
processing,
you click,
processing.
You
Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes right into the back of the brain.
Yeah.
And I love that. You know, it's interesting too because one of the things that I strive for is what's called fifth level leadership.
Yeah.
And fifth level leadership is in a book From Good to Great. And what it is that leader can create a system that when they leave, that system continues to flourish or even actually get better.
Okay.
And I am so, I'm so blessed that we did that at Beechwood with Jimmy Greenwood.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Jimmy has done a phenomenal job. He's continued that, legacy. And we did it the first time when back in the 90s when again Scott Peters took over when I retired, and then brought Coach Imarino back, the Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And had a almost plus 20-year plus run of good, and I feel really good. Again, too, we don't know what the future holds. I know that you may have other plans, but I feel that if a bus hits me tomorrow, those kids are in great hands with you.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're ready for that.
I think so.
I really think that you're ready for that, and that's a beautiful thing to see. So that to me is the ultimate compliment that an assistant coach can give a head coach, and I really appreciate your dedication to the sport, but more importantly, your intellect and your heart. and that's really, really strong. And you know, when I think about why I do this, you know, it's my passion, it's my existence, my why, and I just put that out there. So all you people that are reading this, you're hearing it now from me, but at the end of the day, I think that's also you.
Yeah.
This is what you are.
I think so.
You're a coach. You know, whether it's in business, in family, or in the wrestling room. You know, so you know, you also had, and we didn't mention this, but you also had a Hall of Famer who said, "Trust the process."
Oh yeah.
Your head coach.
Oh,
at
I
Notre
heard that
Dame.
so many times. So many times. Yeah.
The inimitable Frank Romano.
Yeah, Frank the Tank.
Yeah, Frank the Tank, a pure Maple Heights guy who went on to be a D1 coach and then literally the coach in D2 over the past 15 years. Tell me a little bit about what you learned from Frank, and then maybe we can wrap this up by saying, what would you like to leave the audience with?
Yeah. So Frank was a, you know, take no crap kind of guy.
Right.
And he'll give it to you straight kind of guy.
Sure.
And you know, we clashed a lot. We clashed heads a lot, me and Frank.
You know why? Because you're both really bright.
Yeah.
And you know, that's a good thing. That's
I think
a good
so.
thing. He probably challenged you, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. You know, we had our ups and downs for sure, but the one thing, like you said, that I learned from him, that you can't deny the facts. You know, numbers don't lie.
Right.
You know, it's an honest sport. Like you said earlier, is one of my favorite things.
Can't
to say.
hide.
You can't hide. The match shows all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is what it is. You either win or you lose. There's no this or that happened.
Right. Yep.
And Frank always said, trust the process. We
Okay.
know what we're doing. Trust the process. Trust the process. I mean, I hear that in my nightmares sometimes.
Yes.
I hear it so many times. I'm telling you. But
he's in your head.
he's not wrong. And he wasn't wrong. You know, he won titles. He produced, over 50 All-Americans probably now at this point.
Crazy.
And, I mean, how many national champions? What, 20 national champions?
It's just, and think about that. Think about that percentage.
Yeah.
You know, that is really the mark of a great program.
That's unbelievable.
When you get those kids ready, those men ready for their ultimate test, which is the national title.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you get a guy there and he places third or second or fourth, he's done, you know, he's done it.
He's
right?
done a great
job.
job.
Or national champion. So the trust the process is in your head, and that process is getting them ready for peaking at the right time.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You know, we were always like, I don't know if he knows what he's talking about or what's going on. You know, everybody that's coming to do a college program was the guy in their high school. Yep. So they're coming in there, they're thinking, you know, they know the way. What does this old guy know? What does he know? He's past his time. Right. But the fact remains, how many national dual titles do we have?
Yes.
How many national championships do we have?
Yes.
And how many kids we peak at the right times. You know, I was part of a couple national dual team championships as well.
Yep.
And we didn't feel like maybe we were ready. And then when we got there, we were surprised how ready we were.
Isn't that cool? That's cool.
And that's just from having faith that the coach knows what he's doing.
Right.
You know, whether I liked him or not at the moment, whether, you know, coaches and wrestlers sometimes didn't get along.
Well, you know, listen, as a father, I'm not in it for a popularity contest.
Yeah.
I'm in it to be your father.
Yeah.
Okay? And I got to make the tough decisions
right.
as the head coach, as the coach. You have to make the tough decisions.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had Scott Safinovitz in here about 10 weeks ago. And Scott talked about, you know, he had to make some tough decisions as a police officer, but 5-10 years later, he'd see these kids out, you know, in the Blossom Time or in Chagrin Falls, and they would thank him.
Yeah.
I hated you then, but thank you so much for making that tough decision for me, basically. Right. You know what I mean? And so I think that's what you're saying too, isn't it? You know, and I know that I'm sure there's kids that, you know, curse our name, you know, after a practice.
That's okay.
You know,
yeah,
and
exactly.
that's okay. Yeah,
that's
it's okay. It's really okay. So, you know, I really like this whole mentality, and so you bring that obviously into the business world. That mentality. You bring this into your personal life. So, Jake, tell me, if you would, and leave us with one thing or maybe a couple things that you would like to make sure that people get that are listening to this as a coach, as a man. What really rings true for you, and what's your philosophy?
Yeah, you know, kind of spurring off of what you said earlier. You know, it's not paying the bills. It's not what you're in it for. Right. If you're in it for that small paycheck, or if you're in it for personal gain, you know, it's time to get out. You need to realize that this is to produce, you know, beautiful men into this world, successful men inside and outside of the room. Right. And without that, in my opinion, like you said, it's almost a failure. Yeah. You know, that's pretty much our job. they're good at wrestling, that's great.
Yep.
I love that. I love successful wrestlers.
Of course.
You know, I was a successful wrestler. You were, you know, it's a great feeling. I want them to feel that.
I was a successful-ish
until
I got into coaching.
Getting your hand raised is a drug.
Yes, it is.
And, you know, if they can feel that, great. But what I want them to feel more than that is a success outside of the room and respect.
Yep.
You know, they need to learn respect outside of that room for everybody.
Yep. And
I want to make sure that coaches all around know that too.
Well, we sure don't do it for the dough. Even
not really.
We make about $1.11 an hour after the end of the day. But thank you, Chagrin Falls, for paying us actually for this, right?
Appreciate it.
And Beechwood and all the other teams that have done that.
Yeah.
But it is about that foundation.
Yeah.
Those underpinnings of great humanity.
Right.
And paying it forward, and I see that in you, and I see you maturing and becoming that, you know, elite coach. It's terrific to see that, and the kids are fortunate to have you in the room, and I'm fortunate to have you on my staff and to call you friend. And so what I want to wrap this up and say is that in the world that we live in today, sadly, this is becoming rarer, what we're talking about here.
Very rare, yeah.
So my only request for you is to do more of it.
Yeah.
And I know you will.
Oh, I love it.
It's fantastic.
I love it. I've always felt like it was what I was almost meant to do with wrestling as well.
Absolutely.
Such a wealth of knowledge. It would be almost like a sin to not give it back.
Exactly right. Right.
I know too much to not share it.
It is almost you have to do it. You know, it's like I am blessed to have everybody in the room right now committed to this entire philosophy, because I have to do this. This is what I know that at 62 years old I'm put on the planet to do, and for the rest of my life, if I'm fortunate enough and stay healthy and keep my wits about me, and you know, all those good things. And so I want to thank you for coming in, Jake.
Of course.
I really, you are an up and coming elite coach and young man. You've arrived, but you got a lot more to do. You got a lot more to do.
Yeah.
And I just am really thankful to have you here. So good luck this season.
Yep.
I know that you're going to be working your tail off, because you got some guys in the room that are going to push you, you know, and you're going to push them. But more importantly, I want to thank you as a man for coming in. So go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Falcons.
Yep.
And we are blood. This is Coach Cimoroni. Thank you. I want to leave you with this thought of the day. Do not require, do desire deep, full, and true.